It's, nobody says anything that shouldn't be said, or,
No, no.
I don't know. Sometimes there's a little bit dirt talking or whatever, that
That
is
we want to hear,
is out there.
but not the test,
So, ladies and
test.
gentlemen, we're in the middle of that too. We are dirt talking here.
About the golf.
Gary, you are a hacker.
You're right.
Yeah, it's just.
A computer hacker. I have no idea what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
you're the computer hacker. I'm the golf hacker.
Yeah. This is the golf star.
Yeah, he
He's a
is a
golf star.
man. He's a man.
1 over par today.
All right. Well, NSL Live Talk. A few days after the end of the Shamrock Showdown. That's why we are taking it easy now. I can drink beer. They cannot. They're still working, I guess.
Working.
Yeah, working hard.
But I'm
Very
allowed,
hard.
I'm allowed to take a break. And we're doing NSL Live Talk anyway, which means we are talking about the Shamrock, of course, situation.
Yeah.
What's the takeaway of it? Gary, you came over on Saturday. Luke watched it on video, on the videos. So let's begin with a guy who was really there. What did you see, Gary?
Well, I saw a stronger second day for Hayabusa straight away than the start, but definitely I think we're all impressed with the French team. So a very strong French team, and I think airspeed are exactly where they want to be. Yes, Nicholas had an injury. There's all the things behind airspeed. They didn't do a lot of training jumps, but in fairness, nor did the French. The French, I think Mathieu said they were jumped in Pamiers. They only did 30-something jumps.
Didn't jump much.
They had cold weather, and then they jumped a little bit in Deland. They did so many days.
No, that was a good camp.
Yeah, but
So,
4 or 5 days for them and a day off, and then Shamrock. I think, I
Well,
might be wrong.
they jumped off the budget, basically. So,
Yeah.
they have a budget.
So I mean, at least they jumped in. So they would have jumped hard each day. I'm guessing a day off and whatever, and then Shamrock. So, but I think very impressive. And you can see it when there's a fast jump, like the first round, 14-7, and I mean fast movement, not always the highest scoring. The French guys are quick. When it got a little bit more technical, I think on the last day, Hayabusa beat them or caught some points on the last 5 or 6 rounds. They were 10 points behind at one stage, and they got it down to 7 points over 5 rounds, over the full 10 rounds. So I think the last 5 rounds, Hayabusa won that day. But it's to show you how these French have improved,
Yeah, nobody had tied around with their speed
No.
since, I don't know, since for the last 3 meets, outdoor meets or whatever.
Yeah.
So they tied 2 rounds.
Yeah, and then
Promising.
if I can continue with the Qatar team, obviously I think they feel a little bit disappointed, but in fairness to them, they've just switched to coach. They've got Andy in. He's only done 2 camps with them, 1 tunnel camp, 1 outdoor camp. So they for sure will be disappointed with the result, but I think they understand where they are, that they have to take a new coach, they have to learn what he wants from them, but then they need to get some energy and they need to jump, because this French team and Hayabusa are training hard for Israel or even Slovakia. They're going to have it tough. And I remember saying to you before that Andy had a tough job ahead of him, because he's got 3 strong teams out there now. And the French have come from behind behind Qatar, and have jumped ahead, and they've jumped a long way ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting how the dynamics have changed all of a sudden, and that's what those kind of meets are good for, and, especially the Shamrock at the beginning of the year. So they really know now what the situation is like. It's not like France is out of the medal rankings or so. No, they've taken a solid 2nd place at the moment. So even Hayabusa has to work hard now to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing, I spoke to Hayabusa just before they went to the Shamrock, because I was stuck here on the Friday in Zephyr Hills with the Qatar juniors were training, and I said to them, be careful of the French guys, because don't be shocked after round 1 or 2 that these guys have come through, because we know that they're fast, and it was exactly like that.
Tom Martoni.
Unbelievable.
Well, let's first interview this young man here, Luke, who was not in the land, but you watched it carefully.
Yes.
So what did you see on the videos?
Well, I have seen a solid, very strong airspeed, like we have seen the last competitions. A little bit untouchable by the other teams. But I have seen some very impressive rounds from the French team. Yeah, the young guys. First round, the 14-7 jump, like Gary said, a couple of rounds was really really good. I've seen also that Hayabusa have still some work to do, you know, but a very good or a better second day.
Absolutely,
also.
yeah.
Absolute,
Big
like
time, big
Gary
time.
told, absolute, even not comparable with the first day.
Yeah.
And well, that the Tigers still have some work to do. Really, yeah, they need really scratch all the energy and everything together and get back in the game, because it's not gonna be easier than before, if not more difficult.
You're an original, not an original, but you're a former Hayabusa member in the
Yes.
inside center slot. So we saw really two different teams, two different Hayabusa teams. Saw the one team between round 1 and 4,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then a different team on the,
Yeah.
on the next day.
Yeah.
Well,
How does it come to that?
Well-
You know, the team has to realize. I mean, obviously we know when you have good days, bad jumps, and so
Yeah.
forth. You know that, but then you have to change direction. What do you do? What do you talk about?
Well, yeah. Well, if you see, if you start all over again with a new member and stuff, and you start training, you have always things who is going easy way, you know, very fast progress, and some things still need some progress and work. And well, if you have that draw, or maybe the beginning in the first days, what is maybe not your I don't want to say your favorite, but maybe some things
Yeah.
where you still need to work on. When it comes first, well, you might have a more difficult day there, and the second day might have fit already better with their training and their performance. Maybe it's like this. It's difficult to say. From the outside, it's difficult to say what is really inside. I think Gary knows maybe a little bit more, but yeah, you know, if you're building up things, some things is maybe not yet ready, and some things is very good already, and that's maybe what is still showing there on Shamrock.
Yeah, I would go exactly that. Is that some of the rounds towards the end, they were blocks that they were more technical, and that's why the French suffered a little bit. And airspeed, the machine just took over.
Yeah,
the
that
airspeed
was-
machine just rolled. It doesn't matter what they have, whatever block they've done. So many jumps together, those guys now, and they are technically so strong that machine doesn't break down. It goes here and now. There's a bus. Even if they have a bad jump, it's not that bad. So that kind of came up, and
Yeah,
and
they
Hayab-
don't seem to have bad jumps anymore.
there's
right?
certain blocks that Hayabusa has with Neil that they feel very strong at. Even though that 17 jump was on the second day, Neil didn't have his best 17s. He landed and he was very unhappy with his 17s, but the jump was still okay.
Yes, it was a good
still
jump.
okay.
Right.
And so there's certain blocks that they do well at with Neil, but there's certain blocks that there's a little bit of trouble. And not only the blocks, the speed stuff. If there's a speed transition, Neil, we have to remember, came from a 14 average a year ago, a year and a half ago. So he was in Hayabusa. He was starting to build up. He still did his military training for 3 months last year. So over this period right now, he was in the military for 3 months. So
Yeah.
we have to remember where he came from. The French guys, alternative, I mean, they've come from nowhere, but they've been in the tunnel for so long. They are fast. They won in Charleroi. I think they were second, right?
Second.
In the World Cup. And Neil came in third, but that for him was a golden finish in Charleroi. So he was being carried by 3 guys. But right now he has to fly for himself to get to that level. But I've watched him in the tunnel, and for sure they have improved a lot from Charleroi. So in Neil's point, he's flying quicker, he's flying better. It hasn't all transitioned into free fall yet. And they keep saying 1.5 years still, 1.5 years. So they're working on it. And I firmly believe they'll get there. But will they catch airspeed? It's a long way, and they know it.
Well, he's in the engine position, right? So he has to. I think a very important thing for him is also to gain confidence and confidence and
Yeah.
confidence, because he cannot wait until Dennis or Bob or any other person in the team decides, let's pick up the pace,
Yeah,
put more
yeah.
energy in. he is the guy who is controlling that, basically, right?
Well, yes and no. There's certain stuff where they all go in on it, and even if he makes it, like you'll see Dennis keyed the finish of a 21 to a Q, and it wasn't. It was just a bad. In fact, they had the whole jump was bad 21s on day one. But it was keyed from the outside because they want to keep the pace going. They're
That's
not going
exactly
to slow
what
down.
I'm trying to say. Yeah.
So, but
he has to take control over
and
that.
he's getting better, you know, and they have belief in him. And I think even what I see from the outside, I'm not 100% in with him all the time, but as much as I see, he's starting to grow in confidence. In the beginning, he was very shy, didn't say nothing.
Yes.
Kind of now every so often I hear him talk out, and it's starting to come. It's starting to come.
But you see that on the, again, the style of the second day, the last 5-6 rounds, was a different team with that kind of attitude. The attitude we are now here, we can do better than that. Well, you are actually, both of you are Qatar coaches. So you're working for the same delegation.
Yeah.
I talked to the Qatar Tigers last week, as you probably know, in Lake Wales, and they said they are close to the, you called them junior teams. Let's call them junior teams. Huh?
Yeah.
They talk to each other, they're supporting them, they're helping them. The coaches have to work together, your coaching team, Andy, you too. What would be your take? What would be your advice for the Tigers at the moment? Because the Tigers will be the national team until next year, right?
For sure, until next year, yeah.
Yeah. So what if Andy would be sitting there? Now we're talking coaches. What would you say?
Yeah. I have something, but Luke, I've been speaking all the time.
Well, if I see the past and how it is going now, to be honest, it's not easy after so many years. To get that motivation, to get that energy again and again, years and years and again. But I think for sure what I see and I think is that they really gonna need all their energy and all this motivation. Yeah, they really have to get back seriously in training and and jump again a lot if they wanna be competitive on the medal places there. And this is not a secret. I mean, everybody around can tell this. Everybody see this. You can say, well, we were not in the perfect conditions to compete. New coach, end of camp or whatever. But on the end, to make a shortcut and to go really compete for a medal, you know which three teams is around you. You know that they train hard, that they will do everything to get back in their positions. This is like we always said before, airspeed is airspeed. They change, they always come strongly back and always fight for that first place. It's been all world meets where you go. It is like this.
That's an attitude too, kind of.
We have this a little bit in Hayabusa. The same attitude. They're gonna go for it and they're gonna train whatever they're gonna have to do for it. And the French, they are super motivated. This is young guys, full of energy and really good. They busy good. You can see this on the jumps. If you watch the world meet, watch what they did before, watch this. This is So you have three super motivated teams there and they all want to compete for a gold medal, not for a third place, for a gold medal.
Very true.
So we have now the fourth team.
In fact, we have 3 world champions.
Yes.
Our France has 1 world championship.
They have the experience around and now you have our Qatar team who is the 4th team.
They need twice as much motivation actually. Because the other countries have their gold medals or history already.
It's not gonna be easy, but it's the only way if you want to compete with them is train hard.
And the psychology of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think also to add on exactly 100% with what Luke said, they have to look inside. They have to look in the mirror and go, do I want this enough? And if they don't
Right.
want it enough, it's not going to happen. The only way that they're going to have any chance to match is they have to look in the mirror and not to look around and blame anything else. They have to look into the mirror and look at themselves and say, do I want to get out of bed and go and make those 10, 12 jumps every day, those 10 jumps with the energy, with the necessary motivation and energy. And I think that's what Andy has to try and bring into that group. He has the skill. Yes, he's a relatively new coach. He's a great, fantastic flyer, but I think he will bring something into that team. It will be a new coach, it will be new energy, and I hope that will motivate them to go and jump, you know.
And that's the ultimate piece of the puzzle, you know. You have to want it. And actually, I talked to Andy when I was there, and we had this our NSL live talk there. He brought it to the point. He said, you know what, I can do my best as a coach, and you can do, and you do that. You know, you give your best. It's still only the team that delivers.
Yeah.
So
they have to do it.
you're not in free fall.
It's
You
not the
can-
coach who's jumping out
It's
of
not
the
the coach
plane.
who's jumping. So you can only
well,
do whatever
Here we
you
go.
can do.
Well,
and then
100%. But
Yeah.
on the other side, that's not a get out of jail card. You've got to push, because eventually, when you go to a world meet, it's you on the line as much as them. And I always said, when I was with Qatar, when I was with Hayabusa, I felt as much as when they out there, it's me out there as well. It's my coaching, it's my job. So you can always sit back as a coach and go, wow, we can have a holiday. But if that's your role, and I don't think Andy is that, but it's one of those that you have to push as much as you can. And if you've done your 100%, and what we always just say in South Africa, if you've turned over every stone and you've looked under every stone to make sure you've done your job, then you've done your job.
Yeah, it's psychology. So they need a technical coach, you know, who is giving them everything that there is. That's Andy. You know, he knows to, you know, how to become a world champion. But then maybe you know, they need a sports psychologist on top of that to look after the motivation, attitude, all that kind of stuff. It's tricky, you know. Again, for Airspeed, France, Hayabusa, they have won gold medals at world championships. They have a history of success. You know, Qatar doesn't have that yet.
No.
You know, so we have to somehow convince them.
Yeah, sometimes you see, you know, I can see some jumps in it that you say, hey, these guys can compete for a gold medal.
We
even
have
on the
seen it.
world. You know, some
seen it,
jumps,
right?
and you go like, wow, they can. But you know, the things.
10 rounds.
Yeah, and it cannot fall apart in one of the domains. You know, maybe this, like you say, this mental, this physic, all things around. But hey, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing together, and you see sometimes in some parts and jumps, because they do also a schism, and you see some jumps that you go like, hey, there's
some greatness.
Yeah, there is greatness in the whole thing.
for sure.
But we have to get that greatness 10 rounds and not one competition. You know, you have to keep where you are and not stepping down and fluxing. You know, they build up to that level, and that's on the moment maybe a little bit missing. Yeah.
And again, we want that, you know. I mean, everybody wants it. Airspeed made this very clear on their NSL Live Talk on Saturday, actually. They said they appreciate it so much that France is becoming so strong, such a strong opponent, because it pushes them. You know, if you have no opposition, you know, what are you training for? You know, I mean, of course, you're still training for a purpose, and it's fun too. Let's not forget about that. You know, there's a fun factor. But they appreciate it very much. So they want the Qatar team. You know, we all want the Qatar team to be really strong. You know, to imagine you would have 4. Let's say the Russians were in there too. We would have 5 teams competing for 3 sets of medals.
Exactly. I mean, in a way, world sports is like that, right? When you go and watch World Cup football or soccer, and whatever, it should never just be 2 teams.
There are 20
or
teams
3
who could win.
Exactly.
At the World Cup.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that we all hope that. So we, you know, again, what would you tell them? You know, how can you help? How can we help you?
Yeah.
You know, how can we
Yeah.
help the Qatar Tigers to
I
find
think
the motivation, the power, and all
I
that?
think they have to help themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I think they have everything at their means.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have everything. They have the jump numbers. They have the tunnel. They
The
have the
resources,
coaches.
you know,
They've had the
everything.
coaches. That I mean, they have Andy now, and now it's a case of, like I said, they have to look in the mirror and go, "This is what I want to do."
And now they've won bronze medals in 4-way twice.
Twice.
Yeah, yeah. The last two World
Silver in
Championships.
8-way.
Silver and 8-way, bronze, silver.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
should have enough confidence to say, okay, now we. And I know the Qatar Tigers they have left no doubt in earlier conversations.
Yeah, yeah.
That they say we want to win.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you have to show. You have to show it.
You have to show it.
You know. I also said to them. I mean, it was with anyone saying it's easy to talk, but you have to go and do it. Yeah, you have to show it, and the doing is not in the competition; it's in the training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe that's also kind of
Yeah.
maybe in the training, it's very easy to become kind of lazy
Yeah.
in training.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
Yeah.
It's very simple because you train, you do so many jumps, and you go, I don't feel 100% today, and I'll just skydive at half my potential, and you still make your 10 jumps, but you haven't added anything into the team. But I'm sure that the French, every jump, they try and their best to be their best, you know.
Yeah, so let's make this. We could talk about this for hours again, of course, but let's put this. We have to stop because people get bored after a while. So, but one more keyword, and that I think Tom Martoni is turning 19 today.
Well, happy birthday, Tom.
Happy birthday, Tom
Yeah, happy
Martoni.
birthday.
And congratulations to Father Stefan.
Yeah,
You know him,
yeah,
right?
I know him. Yeah,
What
for
a
sure.
story there.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Tom Martoni, the outside center of the French team, right? He's not like the tail or the point. He's center.
Yeah.
Center work.
Yeah.
Damn young, right?
Yeah. Well, last year I was with the Tigers up against the French in the World Meet, and before that meet, the French released maybe 3 or 4 jumps or like highlights of some of their good jumps, and the speed that he was going, I was looking at it and think, we can't move at that speed, But it was one of those that when they came fourth in France, I spoke to some of them and some of the French delegation said their time will come. And the fact that he was so young, 18, then now turning, like you say, 19, it's unbelievable. It's exciting to
And
watch.
Mathieu Cuisy is 22.
Yeah.
Right.
It's exciting to watch. And then again, it's a case of when you're that young.
No, that's Alban is 22.
Yeah,
I think,
Alban.
yeah. And Mathieu Cuisy.
It's important that Tom can keep that motivation going because he's got it right now. He's up there, but to stay at a top level for so many years is also not so easy. So that's going to be another thing that comes in. Before you know it, he might become world champion or silver medalist. But at the end of the day, to stay and win 4 times in a row like a Hayabusa or an Airspeed or a Nicholas Hamlin, you have to keep that drive. And how long can you keep that drive for? That right now we don't know. It's easy to speculate. But right now he's a amazing outside center. He's quick. He can do the job. And he's great to watch.
He could become a new Andy Grauels or
Yeah,
Nicholas Hamlin
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
So I can't wait, to have my first interview or NSL live talk with Tom. He's, not.
I'm surprised you haven't had one already.
Well, he promised he will practice his English a little bit more, so
Yeah.
he feels confident enough to.
Well, you do it in
Yeah.
French, short with subtitles.
Yeah.
We'll all read it.
Je peux parler français un petit peu.
I have no idea what you're saying.
I could not do an interview in French. No, I have to say so. And I'm German. I'm not English
Yeah,
or
yeah.
American anyway. But he said, he's not shy of talking.
Yeah.
But they have this little
The
language
language.
barrier, So, and it matters.
But he seems like a very nice guy. I don't know him
yeah,
that well.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
said,
sure.
I know his father super well, but he's very respectful. He's not walking around with a big head. Everyone knows how good he is, and but he looks very respectful. And I think in that way, everyone likes him. So I
And,
would just say to him, whatever he's doing, keep doing it.
And he has a brother or sister? It's a sister. In
No
Norway?
idea.
Norway.
I have seen,
She
but I
is
don't want
also,
to
she
say.
was in one of the junior teams.
I saw with Stefan. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they have more in the family. So I can't
Yeah.
wait to get more insights.
Yeah, yeah.
From. But yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we also have the former junior world champions in 4-wheel women now at the World Championship. In
Yes, in the
Czech.
Cubs, right?
The Cubs.
The Cubs,
Mhm.
right?
So that Thomas Tony and the Cubs, they know each other from their last World Championship,
Yeah.
indoor World Championship. So
So that's going to
another
be
interesting-
exciting one, I think, in Slovakia soon.
Yep,
In a
coming
month.
soon,
In a month's
coming
time.
next month. Or hopefully we'll be able to do some NSL live talk in Slovakia, but we need, or the NSL would need the support of the community again. So we'll start a fundraising campaign
Yes,
soon.
do it.
to
Let's
make
get
it
the
happen.
NSL there.
Yeah, let's try. Are you going?
I'm not 100%. We have a camp with the juniors right after that.
Luke?
So it,
No, I'm not going.
it depends when I need to be in Qatar before I can travel, but I would love to be there.
So to make sure that we can communicate this to people like you,
We need the NSL.
we need the NSR to be there.
Yes, yeah. Exactly.
And that's the end of this NSL Live Talk with Gary Smith, Luke Verstrepen, the Qatar coaches currently, with a little evaluation of the Shamrock Showdown. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming all the way here.